fighting out of Wentworthville, New South Wales, Australia, Nadia Kassem.
I'ma swing it, watch me bring it to the next level. To craft the devil's getting funky like the Neville. Brothers from the bayou, so why you on the trip? Just play the sidelines, kid, and wait for me to slip. Cause I can feel it in the air tonight. But yo, I'm not Phil Collins, I'm more like Henry Rollins. Cause I search and destroy every toy with the plot. Trying to get what I got, you might get shot. Hot damn, I'ma slam you like Onyx. Then teach you how to ride a rhyme like hooked on phonics. Mother Goose ain't got shit on me. Cause I get loose at the jam and wreck the whole party. I make them jump and mosh, oh my gosh. They're slamming in the pit when I'm kicking my shit. They're bugging in the aisles cause I got mad styles. And ain't a damn thing funny, I get money in piles. Some people thought I'd died, that's just a rumor though. Others thought I fell.
You know, today they started drilling here at 8 in the morning. and I had a late, I was working out till late, working on some editing and all that.
Yeah.
But I actually, funnily enough, I have more energy than yesterday because I think it carried over from Saturday. Oh yeah, I stay up for the UFC fight card, and it's just here. This one ended at 7:30 in the morning, so it's one of those.
Oh, well, I wouldn't do it. I couldn't. No way. I'm too getting old. Can't do that stuff. No way.
So, your background, you're a Lebanese, right? Lebanese background.
That's right. Yes. Yeah.
You feel very connected with the culture because myself, I'm half Jordanian. And,
yeah. That is your surname.
Houri. Houri is means priest. You know some Arabic?
I do, but pretty bad at speaking. It's pretty embarrassing, actually. Yeah, my family is not happy about that, but I don't know. I'd like to learn, but I haven't really had proper opportunity. Maybe I'm just being lazy. I don't know.
But then you are still somehow really connected with the culture, right? You do.
No, definitely. I definitely feel that connection, and even though my language isn't there, you still have that culture and feeling, especially with your family. And I don't have a lot of Lebanese friends, but I don't think that it matters. You have to have it in your heart, it just carries with you. Yeah, I think it's definitely it's a blood thing, I reckon.
Yeah, maybe, probably. So, guys, in the booth, we're back. So we've been talking here. We've been chatting with Nadia Kassem, who is the former UFC fighter, actually former fighter in general. You walked away from the sport eventually, but you had a bit of an undefeated run as well at Urban Fight Night, right? And from there you got scouted to UFC, and then was it during COVID that you got cut?
It was the end of 2020, and so what happened was I had a scheduled fight with Miranda Granger. That was going to be at Vegas. It was going to be at obviously, and it was going to be a really great card. And 2 weeks out, I got injured, and I didn't disclose the injury to her, but it was basically an injury where this part of your body controls everything. I couldn't do cardio over 100 beats per minute. I tried, so what happened to me, and I literally just fell to the ground. I wasn't allowed to even stand up. Wow. I was sitting on a area. Yeah, there's nothing I was able to do with the issue that I had, and nothing happened. Initially, it just comes a build up, and it was something that was going to definitely end my career.
Wow.
Yeah, so pretty threatening to me and my health and safety. So I couldn't train. Obviously, if you can't hit your heart rate over 100, which is literally anyone just walking pretty fast, we made a decision to pull myself out, and we had to do that. And then I got offered another fight maybe 4 weeks later against someone else, and my manager was like, "How are you doing?" I was like, "I haven't even hit the gym yet." That's how much it's affected me. I couldn't drive, and there was a lot of things. He's like, "All right." I said to him, "Look, tell him February, because this happened in July, and I started to train again slowly in November." And I was like, "Look, tell him February, I'll be sweet." And then basically they said to me, "You don't take this fight, you're out." And I was like, you know what? Maybe they didn't see how I did, but for me, my health was coming first, and if they couldn't respect that and respect their fighter, who I've never turned down a fight. I've always taken the fights. My first fight, against a Sydney average tier fighter, but I went up weight class and fought ranked number 12. You can't tell me that I was scared. or that I ever said no, or ever tried to pick and choose my fights. I was one of the most easygoing fighters you're gonna get. That's on a low level.
There was that. So, well, you won the first fight. You were a young
Yeah.
prospect, and I was surprised. I guess we can come to that later as well, like the whole circumstances around it and everything. But like, did you feel it was all unfair, or there was an unfair treatment, or they didn't hear out your side or anything?
No, like I just feel like the first fight was great. It's all good. I actually like knew her prior, and we actually went to a wrestling camp a few years back, and we ended up driving together with a friend that we had, mutual friend, and like we experienced that wrestling camp together. But that was all well and good, and I was happy to fight her. Basically, for me, it's just business. I'm happy to give a mad hug after and chat. But I'm just like that. I think maybe being around so many guys, where they can do that, that's my mentality, and some women can't do that.
Yeah, do you think it's different? Like, because there was I was just listening to a podcast, and there was like you hear that a lot with the people that were in the Ultimate Fighter, and I never really watched the show, but you hear like a lot of the men say like when they take the phones away and everything, they had a really good experience with it, and then a lot of the women are like, that was the worst experience. I'm never gonna do this again because there was so much drama and everything. Like,
Yeah.
Even though, yeah, go ahead.
No, I understand. Like, I completely get that. No, nothing. Yeah, I'd be the same.
So how did you end up at the UFC? We'll continue talking about that later, like the whole release and everything and stuff. But how did you? Because you were your background was Taekwondo at first. Like that reminds me of myself. My parents first put me in Taekwondo. They're like they thought that was the best. Like Jordan was thriving in that because I grew up there.
Yeah, cool.
And they were like, that's the way to defend yourself, So it seems like a lot of people had that, like back in the day, especially people from my generation were like, Taekwondo is where they start. And then how did you decide to take it? Why did you decide to take it further?
Well, that was only when I was young, really. And I was really good, but I got over it quick. I didn't like the no contact. I got bored. I need contact sport, and I obviously realized that growing up, and I got kicked out of every sport before fighting, like football, netball, anything, you name it. So I think it was just boredom, and then my brother obviously started to train, and then me watching him and all that. That just sparked. I didn't really know the sport existed until I was like 16 years old.
Yeah. Well, it didn't
Like
really, yeah.
Yeah, well, it didn't really anyway, but I knew there was individual stuff, but jiu-jitsu started coming around, and then wrestling, and then putting it all together, I was just like amazed. Like I always thought it was some underground thing. Like I was telling one of the guys before. Yeah, I was like, oh, this is mad. Like, no, bare knuckle, and this is like going to be, in some sewer where there's like water going over you, and you're all people screaming, throwing. That's mad. Like, I'll do that. I love that movie.
Mortal Kombat.
100%. Someone's got to finish him, I cracked up. But anyway, that's how it started for me. When I walked in, I was like, I want to fight. So like, calm down. I'm like, no, like, I want to fight. Like, I'm coming here just to help alleviate my problems.
Yeah. And it wasn't like it was very popular amongst women. Maybe there was people doing it, but there wasn't a lot of opportunities. I think it's around the time when UFC had just introduced women, right?
Yeah.
They were starting to fill up the divisions and such.
Yeah, 100%.
At what point did you realize like you could actually there was money in it, like not necessarily big money, just any kind of money?
Well, to be honest, at the start, there was no intention for it to be a money thing. Hey, at the start, it was just like, I love this. I feel like a bad bitch, but like in a healthy way, like it's empowering. It's empowering, and
absolutely,
there's the give or take, of like you cop a punch, you give a punch, and it gives you discipline, and it humbles you. It humbles you to get hit, respectfully. Yeah. It really does. And then I think obviously when I was working full time, and then I got the UFC offer, I knew I had like very little experience. I had barely any ring time. I didn't really have a good run with kickboxing or boxing. I never did any of that. Like, I had 2 amateur Muay Thai fights, but and won amateur MMA fight. But what is that experience opposed to people that are, college wrestlers and Olympic
Yeah.
boxers, and they go to a crazy level. Like amateur boxers have like 40 fights, and
Yes.
then here I'm having a handful of fights, get a contract, and I was like, oh, opportunity, money, and an opportunity to show like the fighter that I am and my true self at the age of 21 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's hard to say no to that. I mean, yeah, you see a lot of people like I know the Jerry Prohaska and all these people that were in big organizations or champions in other big organizations, and then they
Yeah.
reject the contract because they know they'll eventually get there anyway. Just feel like they're not
Yeah.
ready. But then maybe for you, especially when there weren't that many opportunities for the women, you have to take it, right?
Yeah.
It's a tough
Right.
trade-off. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was just like, I'm young. People doubt me here when I know my skill. I'll put it to the test and I'm going to show you all. And I was prove something to myself because I always had an issue where I never finished anything that I started, or I never really felt something that I was good at or had control over. Like I felt like this was my thing, and I'm like, all right, this is my opportunity, and I'm still young. I can, not work for a few years, and I can take this risk and pursue this career. It was just risk management, and for me, it was worth it. And it is.
Sorry, the line cut for the last bit, but it's you were because you were quite like I remember for one of your fights, like you always got like a big pop from the crowd, like you were quite a fan favorite, especially the Aussies. They run with their own. And I just like finished running a little documentary thing with Team Australia here at this amateur MMA tournament, and you just see how everyone just like, even they're from different gyms and they don't know each other and everything, and they became brothers like or sisters after that. So that's why I'm surprised, especially with the Aussie market that's growing, and it's for me the biggest like upcoming superpower in combat sports, even in boxing. Like you have George Kambosos as well, and Tim Zhu and all those. That they would then decide to cut you because it's not like something that happens usually after two losses. Like that, people don't usually get cut after 2 losses. And I mean, so what's one of the things that surprised you? Like, what is a big positive thing that surprised you? And one thing that you were shocked at, like negatively as well, about your UFC experience. Something that people like young fighters could look out for.
Well, I think on a positive note, you get to meet a lot of people along the way, and there's a lot of connections you can really, come across. Like not just your matchmaker Dana White. Like there's more to that. There's like different fields in the health industry with marketing. There's just opportunity that arises that it might not even be for the UFC, or there's other avenues of fighting, and it might not be your everyday thing that you would even imagine. It could be opportunity that you just won't regret. So I did feel like I met a lot of people, made some good connections along the way. And that I still have relationships with these people now. Like not all of them, but, many of them that matter. And maybe on a negative note, of course, there's favoritism. There's going to be favoritism on with every fight, or when it comes to the internal stuff, and you can't really pick or choose your fights when you're on a certain level. When you're, I was considered, low tier, like never been in a big organization. You're on a base pay. You're not going to get that respect. So you got to really show up, and you got to kind of earn your respect, where some people might have it very quickly.
Yeah.
But all in all, like you learn a lot about yourself along the way, and I think that's the most rewarding thing.
Yeah. Well, so you feel like you still benefited from, you're still now benefiting from that position you were in, and the fact that you fought there, and how did you leverage your brand name?
Well, I feel like you earn respect in some form. Like, of course, not many people. There are people who are not going to like you, people that are like, and I'm only here for myself. And if you people like what I'm doing, then sure, ride the bandwagon. But I'm not changing who I am to fix someone else's, idea of me.
Hmm.
It's not really. So I just feel like as a person, you're more than, especially being a female in the Lebanese community, especially in the Islamic community, it's not a very common thing to do.
No.
I don't even think I know one Lebanese Muslim female that trains and fights MMA. Like, no, I don't know any. Lebanese, no. Muslim, yeah, maybe a few, but not Lebanese. It's very frowned upon for women to, get down and dirty like that and be of like an aggressive nature in a male dominant sport. It's very frowned upon. My father was not keen on it from the start till now, but he had to
Yeah.
deal with it.
Like I read somewhere your mother was very supportive, right? But your father wasn't
Yeah,
of the career, yeah? So
yeah,
how did
yeah.
that on family meetings, how did that like sort of materialize? How did the
Well,
conversation go? Even when you were
well,
when you were fighting at the highest level.
I think my dad didn't realize how big the UFC is because he's not from here. He doesn't follow that type of sport. He's not a sportsman, He's very keeps to himself, does his own thing. So, but when his brother, so my uncle's like around my age, and he was telling my dad like this is really big. This is like the NBA of basketball and the A League of soccer. Like she's made it to a good level. He was like, oh really? Like he was shocked, think to hear it from someone else. And then he saw me in the newspaper or something, and he was like, "That's my daughter." Like it was pretty funny. But I never look at the end of the day. I know it's family, but I'm the type of person where if I love something, if I have passion, no matter what it is, I'm gonna get it. Like I'm gonna chase it. So
Yeah, I'm
it's
of the
very
belief though, like where like Middle Eastern families and Middle Eastern households, at least in my case as well, as long as they see success to limits, like you can't be like the most successful porn star. I guess they won't accept that. But
no.
like, but in like in other fields, they're like as long as you're successful and you're like raising the family name, they change their mind. Like there is that though. Like, so
Yeah,
did you
definitely.
feel like he at least turned around when he saw your picture in the newspaper?
Yeah, well, you know what? He's not really one to like compliment, but my little siblings, I were talking about it with my dad, and he was like, "Oh, I saw the photo of one of your weigh-ins," and I got scared because we're kind of like we're not really wearing much,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Oh, yeah," and he's like, "You look really good, Dad." He's like, you look nice and ripped." I was like, "Oh, thanks."
Oh,
I was
nice.
like, "It's a compliment. I'm gonna take it."
Yeah, exactly.
It
But
was
then,
sweet.
like, why did you end up really like completely stepping away from the sport as a whole, or is there still sort of that fire that you're like, maybe I will try it again someday?
Um, well, so what happened was after I got cut and all that, I was like, "All right, MMA's not gonna happen for me right now, and I don't want to. It's not on the books." So
Mm.
when I did decide to start training more properly, I decided to enter boxing. And then I came across Final Round Gym and Huss, who's the head coach there. And I'd
Mm.
actually trained with him a few times before my before that fight that I was meant to have in Vegas, and I also sparred with one of the top female boxers, Maluk, and she's a pro, and she was amazing. Like I was training for my fight, and I was like, if I fought a boxer like her, she would school the hell out of me. And she wasn't even going to overly hard. It was technical. She was sharp, and
Mm.
I respected her style, and that's what really led me to going down to Final Round. Trying it out and seeing what they're all about. So I did that for quite a little while, like 4 months proper, and started sparring with other pro boxers here, females, and really giving it a massive go. I'm like, I got nothing to lose. I'm not a boxer. I don't have ego here. I'm a rookie and I respect these people. So I learned a lot, and I learned to fight. Some fights fell through, COVID hit, and I started having that issue again that I had before.
Mm.
And that was like, you know what? Maybe this isn't for me. Then I started getting my back injuries, so I came back from before and started getting other injuries. And I was like, boxing is not a high injury sport. You don't really get hurt in boxing besides concussions and maybe nose, like bleeding nose and something like that. So the fact I was having my other issues, I was like, I can't do this.
Mm.
Like, combat sports isn't for me anymore. That was happening. I was lost my passion a bit, and yeah, feeling a little bit of a dark hole for a little while. But then I was working full time again, and I was like, okay, I think responsibility and security is more my thing
Mm.
at the moment. And I don't know, I just think I made a decision to step back and take a bit of control of things that I had to work on in my own personal life to make me, progress.
Yeah. Well, you said like you lost your passion. That's something that it doesn't happen too often with fighters, even if they like leave an organization. Maybe they don't want to do it professionally anymore, but like losing their passion to even like train it. Did that make it easy? Like, was it an easy decision in the end because of that, or was it still very hard? The
Yeah.
conversation you needed to have with yourself.
Um, Surprisingly, I think it was a long time coming. Um, Something for me was I always will have fighter in me. That's just the person I am. Like the way we grew up, we had to be fighters, you know?
Yeah.
And the mentality to like get through all these adversities is to fight your mentality, fight your mind to stay strong. And so for me, it wasn't as hard as I thought it would have been. Even after my second fight, I was like, look, I was pretty nervous about fighting Kim, but I did it because I wanted to prove something to myself. Like I got super jacked. I did all the hard work, dietitian, extra strength and conditioning, sparring all the time, not missing classes. Like everything was by the book, and I was even going above and beyond. That was kind of my last thing to say. You can give it your all, and I did. So I don't feel like I was really upset. It was more the last couple of months. I've just been thinking I know what I could have done, you know, but I made a decision and I'll stick with it.
But the other thing is, the people you lost against are still now like some top ranked fighters, right? Which
Yeah.
you see now in hindsight. Which back then, of course, they're also prospects, and you don't know, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
I saw
I don't know,
potential on it fighting,
but
yeah.
but you don't have regret. You don't have regrets
No.
about this, not at all. Yeah, because the COVID situation that was very hard on a lot of people, especially in Australia. It was very very rough. Like I think you still have some restrictions, right? Not completely, but or was it all
We're
lifted
good.
now?
Yeah, now we're pretty much good. We're basically good. There's just certain vaccination issues if people want to go places maybe. But generally pretty good now. Like obviously COVID levels are still high, but we're living a normal life. Like we're learning to have to accept and live with it.
Yeah.
Some people still, you know, antsy about it. That's fine. But the actual legal side's pretty good.
It's the same. It's the same here, and it was more mentally difficult on everyone than than it was. Like I think mentally this was was the worst part. Of course, that affected people financially, which also affects you mentally and everything. Like, do you feel well? You couldn't train, of course, during that time as well, and I guess training does help the mental aspect a lot.
Yeah.
Like for me, that's what kept me sane. So even the fact
Yeah.
that they hung up bags here in public places allowed you to be outside and train
Yeah.
and everything. Like, how did you navigate those emotions and like? Because you've been very
Yeah.
open about your own mental health as well during your fight career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a bit hard, but I was still keeping very busy. Thankfully, like thank God I was still working because I work in transport
Mm.
and transport don't stop for anybody.
Right.
You know, people need to eat still, people need to everything, work, oil, because we transport everything, literally everything, except for animals.
Yeah.
But yeah, we literally do a lot. So it was high demand and I was working under pressure. We're going over hours, we're getting extra dirt, like things that you didn't normally have to do.
Mm.
We were doing to put in the work. We have people that normally wear like suits getting dirty to help out. That's health.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's like.
we had yeah.
I mean, that's
It was,
like a lot of people looked for career changes as well, and there's some people that were like in careers that weren't thriving necessarily that now thrived. Like now you got
yep.
they were the ones that stayed alive.
Yeah,
But like
because they're underappreciated.
yeah. But then so how did that like mental battle well you didn't experience them. I guess you like it helped you more because you're like while the world is down and everything you looked at the positives maybe and appreciated what you had, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
look at the end of the day. I was fortunate because I was working, I was making money, and I did feel horrible for people that losing homes or getting really sick or had a lot of fear about it all. Um, the only thing is just the pressure to help people to keep your job because everyone's attacking each other at work and a lot of, it's just the usual thing because everyone's so tense. I want to just do a good job. But yeah, it was hard for some people, and I did see a lot of friends who were, either husband's not working or they're not working, both of them. Or
Mm.
I think for a lot of people, it's people that are extroverts. They need people. Where I'm the type of person where even if I was alone and I wasn't working, I'd be fine. As in, maybe not financially, for example, but mentally, I'm okay.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
weird. For me, I'm very much an extrovert, and then throughout COVID, I realized that I can be an introvert. Like, and now
Okay.
there's like the negative side is that well, now it's getting better, but like a few months ago, even like I wish I could see my friends a lot more because everyone got way too comfortable being home and alone, and they don't want to see each other or anything. But at the same
Yeah.
time, when I wouldn't see someone for a while, even I'm annoyed sometimes. I don't want to make plans ever, even if it gets a little bit too late. I'm like, I'm fine. I'm used to this by now. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I guess
Yeah.
like
Oh yeah. But in did you feel like how was it for you like navigating mentally the fight space? Because that one requires, aside from like the mental toughness in training and throughout like fighting and all that, there's also the outside aspect of like fans and trolls and all that stuff. And I'm always fascinated by like I would be so pissed off. Like I feel like I can handle it by now. But also if it comes to another level where like people don't know what you've been through or what you're really capable of and something, and then they start giving you shit, and even though
yeah,
you never meet these people, it still affects you.
yeah. Look, there are times when you can literally just have a laugh, and you can show your friends, like, look what this person said, and you can poke fun at it. And then there are certain things that may trigger you because it might have affected you in the fight a certain way. Only you felt that emotion. Only you know how you felt about that certain thing.
Mm.
Like I can't really pinpoint anything in particular, but there was a time after the last fight where I was obviously accused of something that I didn't realize I had done, but it doesn't appear that way from someone being on the outside.
Oh yeah.
This is obviously the glove touch, right? I
Yeah,
don't know
the
if you've
glove
seen.
touch. Yeah.
Yeah, and which is very talked about. So for me, it's more like, okay, I know my camera looks like I touched and kicked her off the bat. Yes, I did that, but I did not consciously do that, and I didn't even know like what I had done until I was receiving hate messages in the hospital after the fight. Crazy. And I was like, whoa, what's happening? I rewatched the fight and I see it and I was like, oh my God, did I do that? Like I did not know. Like I was in shock.
Yeah.
All I remember is my coach is saying to me, a fault in my previous two fights to that fight was, you're not first. And then you're getting rushed. So the first fight I got rushed, got taken down. Second fight, same thing. So we're avoiding that. So I tried to stay, if I throw the first hit, then I got the feel, and then I'm in the zone. I'm the one putting pressure. And I won that first round,
Mm.
So not from that. Okay.
Yeah. So that's the thing, because yeah, sorry, continue.
No, I'm saying just clarifying. That's
Oh
not
yeah.
how I won the first round.
No, so yeah, but that's the thing. Like a lot of people, they don't know. If you've never been there, like you wouldn't know how it
Yeah.
is. Like the whole fog, and a lot of the time you can't even hear your coaches or anything like that. And like once you're in there, the rules change. Like the rules of life and what you can comprehend in your brain changes because you're focusing on all these other things. Like you're probably like, all right, I just need to make sure. You're probably thinking the whole time, I need to make sure I get the first hit in. But I want
Yeah.
to be sportsmanlike, or and
I know. On a mission, clearly. I was like,
Mm.
hit first, touch, kick. And I was like, when I watched that, I was like,
yeah.
in my mind, I kicked her like after 5 seconds.
Mm.
Like
Yeah.
in my mind, I literally thought, okay, yeah, 1, maybe 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3, kick. I did not realize I did it that quick.
Did you watch it often? Because now I'm trying to think if she was like, because I don't remember if did she like touch the glove and step forward, or did she step back after the glove touch? Because that also influences things.
It was. I'm a bitch. I didn't realize. I literally touched and kicked at the same time.
Yeah, yeah. But
I-
maybe if
I-
she was like touching and walking at the same time forward, it makes sense.
Oh yeah, but she didn't know. She
No,
just
she
was
step
there.
back. Okay.
I was like, oh my God. But then
Was that?
again,
Yeah.
I did go for a Superman punch and then get hit, so
Mhm.
that actually got me good too. And I got up, I was like, oh shit, my bad.
In hindsight, I mean that's good. Probably you're like, oh, we're even now.
I was like,
But
damn it, thank God you didn't die. Anyways.
was that the first time you dealt with that kind of hate or any kind of real hate?
Oh no, I have received it before, like even from the last fight, because of how like big that loss was. It wasn't really. I didn't really put up much of. I did put up a fight, but I didn't have much of a good chance, considering I was getting like mauled, wrestling wise, and I didn't showcase skills on the pay-per-view. I was on the main card, so it was pretty embarrassing. And I was copped a lot of hate from it, saying like, "She can't fight. Why are they on the main card? It's embarrassing." Blah 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 things. But I know what I did in that fight. Like I know that I literally gave him my all, as in my arm. I tore my MCL off my arm clean off the elbow, and that's
Damn.
because I did. Like I know I got hurt, but at the end of the day, you're fighting on TV. You're gonna get haters. You're gonna people who think they know. Oh, if that was me, you know what I'd do? I'm just like, tell me what you would do. Let me do it to you and tell me what you would do.
So if there's anything like, is there anything that you would have done differently in your career? Like now looking back at that career, right? And also considering like how much MMA has grown, right? And the opportunities that there are now for women. If you had known how big it was gonna get, like, is there anything you would have changed?
I wish I got more sparring opportunities with other females, other gyms, or because you get used to people's styles, and I feel like also when you go to other gyms, there's no rivalry, but there is like a turf, thing going on, and natural to get those butterflies and anxiety when you're about to spar someone you've never met, or that's the way I am anyway. So now imagine having that type of anxiety and then never doing that and then going into the cage. Like,
Yeah.
it's surreal. It's surreal. You're in another environment. There's cameras, there's people, there's another human from overseas. You haven't trained anyone with like that, with that experience or that style.
Yeah.
Whereas when I started boxing after UFC, we were going gym hopping, we were traveling, we were doing everything to spar people, and people would come in and we build relationships. So there's like a bit of a trust, or even if there's not a trust, and even if you don't really like this person, you're still going out there and having those feelings, and you're preparing yourself. So I really was prepared to have a boxing fight with like way less anxiety than an MMA fight already.
Yeah.
That might have helped with my nerves and things like that. And yeah, I
Just
just
more
wish that
preparation,
yeah,
more variety. Which was there a lot of variety? Do you feel like there was enough variety to like
there's
really
not.
train? No, there wasn't.
You can
Right.
we could literally count at the time of me being active who I could spar MMA wise. You
Yeah.
could get some boxers in, you could get kickboxers, but can you get MMA fighters? No.
No, or like real wrestlers, like the Americans are known for their wrestling, and there's like different countries are very much known for certain disciplines that you cannot get that now you can. I mean, I know the Gracie gyms in Australia are doing very well. Robert Whitaker used to train at one where my nephew trains. Like,
Right.
like there's, but back then maybe it was probably really tough. I can understand.
Yeah.
And of course, like nothing. Well, the mental game, that's something that's never going to change. Like that's something where like everybody's going to have to deal with that the first time, especially. Then
Yeah,
again, like, did winning that first one take a lot of it off the second one?
Yeah, like I think I was too confident for that second fight. So I always take that loss as a blessing in disguise. I got the embarrassment, I got the lesson. I've never been finished. First time I've ever been finished, and I got submitted by an armbar, which is a submission that I'm actually quite good at. So I was like, oh, she got me with my own move. No. But it was well deserved. She was talented. She did what she had to do to get the win. And after the fight, I went up to her and her team, and we're in the green room at the back, which is where you go after you finish a fight, where all the food is and all that stuff, And I'm up there and I said, congrats, you're the better woman of tonight, and you should be proud, So even someone that has just lost and the first loss ever, and the loss was on a world stage on pay-per-view. I had to take that one on the chin and just be a woman and be mature about it. And that's when I started to feel growth in my career mentality. And that really strong something in my brain that I really had to give it my all in the next fight if they gave me opportunity, and they did. And I did perform better. I might have been hit a few times and it might have been a pretty ugly loss for me, but I know that I performed pretty well considering.
And sometimes that first loss actually, gives confidence because it takes the pressure off of being undefeated.
Yeah, it did definitely because I was.
Yeah. And it humbles people. It's like the humbling
Yes.
thing you were mentioning before about just training in combat sports, because you can get beat up, right? By like anyone can beat you up on a certain day, and that
Yeah,
just
definitely.
is that humbling experience or anything. So now you went like you really turned. Were you always this religious, or did you really turn? Because it looks like you just now took a complete turn to your faith. Is it
I
new?
think the last 2 years has really been another like a quite a major increase in my faith and how I feel about it and how strongly I place it in my life and how I use it in my day to day. It's a lot more enhanced than it ever has been, especially the last year. But it really started about 2 years ago now. This time last year, Ramadan about to start, and I was like, you know what? I had some good influence, and this person was like, you need to learn how to pray. And I was like, you know what? You're right. I do. And I was willing to take responsibility. So I learned how to do that. And as I started getting more into it, and I just found more peace and less anger in my heart too. And things were, instead of always asking, like, why does this happen to me or getting angry, I was more accepting. This is the path that I've been given. So you become more accepting and things make more sense and you question it less and you just kind of live with what you have and you go forward, and you just hope that the path you're being led to is the one that makes you happy.
And so it was like really getting your start and giving it a chance that really got you sort of really in it, like deep in it.
I
Just
think when I
seeing
started,
how it was applied to your life in the end, like
yeah,
the changes that it made in your thinking, maybe.
yeah, definitely. I started noticing a lot of things, and right for me, when I started bringing God into my life, things that would never have opened for me before had opened. And some people may not agree. That's fine, but the way I felt, the way it impacted me, was that it brought a lot of good into my life. When a lot of my life had a lot of darkness, either mentally or people or things that were occurring around me. There's so many ways people can look at it, but for me, like, it was something that's saving my mind and my soul and just my life in general. So I have a lot to be thankful for. Yeah.
That's interesting. Is what I'm getting from it is that you had like a lot of external factors influencing you, but then you realize that when once you start fixing yourself internally, they don't influence you as much anymore.
Yeah, definitely. And it's not like I was ever a follower or a sheep of any sort. It was more just like, you are a product of your environment at the end of the day.
Right.
If you're surrounding yourself with these certain people who do certain things, it's going to seem more normal. And then when things becomes more normal, you might accustom to what they're doing or become that person unintentionally. But it happens, right? So I felt like I had to bring myself out of that and separate myself from certain people and either go on the lonely path for a while, but the lonely path is rewarding because you so much growth, so much mentally, whether it be your family as well, or financially, wherever it is, you're just really focused. So that's what I have in mind in the last 2 years, is to work on myself and give myself something that I never really had, which was like stability.
And what was like your lowest point? Like, when was that, and what was sort of influeing that you had to change that drastically?
I did have a lot of issues, and just relationship breakdowns and things like that. And I think, like, when I did have my ex-partner, I think after that it was kind of eye-opening for me that being alone is okay, and these people aren't, you're not meant to clutch onto, like, put a hold onto people. It's meant to be, of moments, and that there is more out there. And I just have to realize that I'm enough and people are enough. You don't need other people to feel happy. And I think that when you're in a dark time too, you kind of depend on other people to make you feel so.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what, that's not right. So that's why that time 2 years ago, I had to really think and work on myself, and it works for me. And it's something that, I never regret things in my life, but it makes you think about things very differently. Or even feel like embarrassed of certain things you've done. Because like, oh, the person I am now wouldn't do that.
Like, do you have regrets, or do you see it as, it's all part of who I am now? Like, it made me who I am now.
Yeah, it makes you who you are. Like, look, for me, there's certain things I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Or, like, for example, my tattoos. Like, if I had to pick now, I'm actually in the process of getting rid of them.
Do you want to get rid of all of them?
Just the visible ones. For now. Because they're the ones people can see, like the hand, the arm, it's going. No, that's just me. Like, I know it's you can repent and whatnot, but for me, it's more just like, I get looked at in a certain way as well. Like, it's you shouldn't care what people would say or judge you on, but people
That's not comfortable.
Yeah, I just want to look at it. Like, I go to a mosque, right? I'm wearing the hijab, like the scarf, it's everything. And then I have a hand tattoo or like finger tattoos, and then people think, "Oh, are you a revert?" And I'm like, "No." Like, that's, even if I was, that's nice. But they just assume, but I don't care about what people think, but at the same time, you can't help how you feel about it as well. So how I feel about it, even I feel uncomfortable having it on my skin now.
It's what a lot of Europeans don't get sometimes when I'm talking about what a lot of my female friends go through. Well, people who come from strict households sometimes, which is, I mean, this isn't like your case, but it's relatable, where girls aren't happy with the situation of them living with their parents and like having to, like, some girls still have a curfew and all that when I go back there, and then when other people are like, well, why don't you just leave and move out? Or why don't you just, like one of those things. It's like, in the end, you can take control of your own, I'm like, yeah, well, it could do that. But then I'm isolating myself completely from like my loved ones and like the community that I'm in, maybe, and something like, it's just, it's very different. It's hard to explain unless you're in it. Right.
Definitely. People like, oh, and that was like when I had like very ethnic friends, and then they're like wider friends, but like, you're 18, who cares? And like, in my house, you have to be 40 and married to leave the house. What, 18?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, at least even like, you're married, you have control.
Well, if you're not married by like 23, you're a failure, like that's what it also is sometimes.
I'm already losing my spring chickenness.
And I'm not even from a Muslim family. Our family is a Christian family, very rare.
Yeah.
But I grew up there, and everyone I know is a Muslim, and all my friends are. I know it's the same culture we're in. So it's even and sometimes with the Christian Arabs, it's even worse, because they're like, we have to represent ourselves because we're already competing, we're the minority, so we have to be the ideal person.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, because like my mom is Catholic, so I grew up with both.
Oh, you also grew up with both. Sick.
Yeah, so I definitely got a feel of both, and I know that's what makes me less ignorant than the average, because I went to Catholic school for 3 years. I read the Bible. I haven't read the whole Quran, but I'm in the process, so I really got a good outlook.
Yeah, you got both.
And I went best. I get Christmas and I get Ramadan and Eid, so I'm eating good.
Nice. Yeah. So you got to choose in the end. Oh man, like Catholic school.
Yeah, no, it's good. I respect everything. Mm-hmm. It's personal,
Yeah. I went to Baptist school, and it was like, it wasn't like traditionally like a traditional Baptist school there, but because you also had a lot of like mostly Muslim kids, I think, still in the school. But you just realize how not every religion is ideal, because they were way extreme over there in certain thinking, and it made the students extra rebellious because there was a wrong. Yeah. No, it wasn't like a lot of support of like free thinking there. Like, at least because I don't know if you know about Baptists. Like I feel like they're very much into they're very Old Testament oriented as
Okay.
well, and they take everything literal, and that's where you lose children, especially if you're supposed to explain things to them, and they're like, no, this is just how it is, you know. There's no
Yeah.
reasoning behind it, so yeah, so it made us extra rebellious there. Yeah.
Yeah. I get you. Yeah, it's a normal thing. I used to go to an Arabic school on Saturdays. Oh, that was so strict. It was like a jail.
Yeah.
It was like
For
little
the
kids.
language, just to learn Arabic.
Oh, like it was Arab. It was mostly Islamic school,
Yeah.
but it was Saturdays, and it was this place was crazy. I used to hide in the bushes and not go to class. Like
Wow. That is.
I was
Yeah.
like 8 years old, jigging school, whatever baggies, whatever you guys call it there. I was not loving it.
Mm.
That was so scary. They used to yell at us, and then we used to get in trouble. And they're like, "All right, if you talk or whatever, they're like, go to the wall, put your hands up against the wall." I'm telling
Yeah.
you, my arms are shaking. I was dying. I was like
Oh.
8-year-old crying.
That's such a shit. Yeah, though. I had a crazy kid in our class. Every time he had to stand in the corner, he would say, at some point, he was telling the teacher, like, hey, but I didn't need to go to the toilet. And they're like, no, he's just using this as an excuse. You're not going to go to the toilet. And then he actually, like, peed in the corner as a statement. Like, what is wrong with you? And we knew he was just playing it up, right? There's no way.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we were bad. But at some point, we built such a good relationship with the teachers. Even there was one teacher who would like hit us, but like not like he would like not in the face or anything. So
Yeah.
we started making it a goal to like whoever gets hit by him gets lunch from us. You know, like so it became a battle of like getting hit by this teacher. And there was one day where like 3 of us got kicked out and hit by him, and like we all got lunches.
It was so cheeky. That was
Yeah.
the funniest. Yeah, no. I did have that one experience where I got hit by a teacher at Arabic school. My mom came down. I'm telling you, they feared her. People fear in their eyes. This woman got on her knees. I'm telling you.
Really?
Yeah, this lady
Big-
smacked me with a ruler across the face.
Oh, I got smacked with a ruler on the hand. That's all. And the one.
The hand hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was.
I got the rolled up book to the head though.
I swear, Arabs are funny.
Yeah, exactly.
Like if it's my mom, all right, but I don't know you, lady.
Yeah. Well, that's where the parents are. It's like, no, I hit my kids. You don't hit my kids. It's like, you know,
Yeah,
I'm in charge of
100%.
disciplining them. Yeah, because it's crazy. Like, there's so many households where that's not a thing. Like, you don't hit your kids. So how
Yeah,
can the
that's
school
fine.
have an authority to do it in the end? I guess
Yeah,
our school
100%.
came at it from a religious perspective. Like, oh, he's defying Jesus. So he was like, he deserves it.
Oh,
I'll take the wrath of God in my hand. You know?
Judas, they're gonna start hitting you.
Yeah. Judas was my
true.
favorite character.
No.
Yeah. No. I'm
Ugh.
sure we'd play it up. So, in any case, that was it was great having you, having this little chat, even though we had some technical difficulties through the middle. There's a
Okay.
couple of fan questions that I'm gonna ask you, and then I
Sure
will let you
thing.
go. Yeah. Okay. First one, Hunter JS44. What is one thing you wish you knew when you came into the UFC?
That's a really good question. Actually, a hard one. I'd
Ooh,
have to
fun.
say, I wish I knew how much responsibility comes with such quick fame. And when I say that, it's because it's not all what you see. It's about how you hold yourself, how composed you are when you should feel threatened or you should feel a certain way. Because people say things to you just to spark a reaction or to see how you react. And there are many times where I had internet beef with other UFC fighters or whatnot, and I was like, you know what? If I reacted this way, the respect would go higher and things like that. So maybe to be less emotional in decision making. That would be a very high point, I'd say.
It's emotional and decision making, because you also have to keep in mind selling the fight, and people might follow you because you talk trash to a certain fighter. They like that.
Yeah,
But
they love
then in
drama.
the end, you're in the real world. You get carried away with all the internet stuff, and then you forget
Yeah.
that they're real people. Which is something I always see. Part of that whole thing about criticizing fighters when you're sitting on your couch with your chips and your belly out is like, that you forget this because they're on your screen. I feel like, especially with the new generation, younger generation, with social media and
Yeah.
everything. Also, sometimes like if a celebrity dies and you see the comments and all these meme jokes and everything, I'm like, they just because they're used to seeing them on the screen. They think they're a video game character or a movie character, right? It's like plays tricks
Yeah.
in your mind, and then
Yeah. Definitely.
when you meet them in real life, you're like, these are real people.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I've never been one to ever share celebrity things and comment. Never in my life, because I just, and nothing to do with me. It's just the person I am. But especially after having like publicity or whatever you want to call it, you're like, who am I to say anything?
Mm.
No way. Because you know what it feels like for a stranger to attack you with zero knowledge on you from what you post in your fights doesn't make, you don't know me.
Yeah.
You might know it's my profession. That's
Yeah,
the worst.
exactly. Yeah. And the fake Marlon Vera, one of our loyals, do you still watch any combat sports, and are you a fan of anybody?
You know what? I haven't actually been watching fighting. Like there was a stage where I started watching it again because I never used to like watching it. I'm the type of person where when it comes to MMA, UFC, I don't like watching it. I just like to fight.
Mm.
Maybe it makes me feel a bit edgy, and I really want to get in there. Opposed to now where I can actually, I love watching boxing.
Oh,
Like I'll
yeah.
watch boxing. Yeah, I love watching boxing fights.
Same.
I find it so, after MMA and then doing boxing, the transition was super hard. They're so much more powerful when they punch, like the way they sit or they use their body.
Mm.
Like where I feel like MMA, people do box, but they might use boxing more to set up other things. People that are all rounders like myself. I was never a focused fighter. And then when I started to crack down in boxing, I respected it so much more.
Yeah.
Like their warm-ups and their drills are amazing. And maybe because I had less pressure, I was just so fascinated by it. But I think boxing is amazing to watch. And there's no one that I like consistently follow, but I love watching Lomachenko.
Yeah. Yeah.
He is
He's
just,
sick.
I love his style.
I've shown his highlights to somebody like while I was boxing as well. Like some people are there that are like Muay Thai fighters or kickboxers, and I'm like, do you watch Lomachenko? He's like, no, I've heard his name. I'm like, dude, and I always like pull up these highlights before I train, and then I train better. And then like,
Literally, I
yeah,
hadn't done any cardio, I'm telling you, in 2 months. Like I was doing weights and whatever else. And then I was like, stuff this, I'm on the treadmill. And I'm like, Lomachenko highlights. I ran 10 kilometers in 50 minutes. And I can't run. I'm the A1 worst cardio person.
and with the injury thing,
Yeah, I'm just the worst. I didn't care. I was not wearing the right shoes. I just jumped on the treadmill, felt fat. I'm like, let's jump, let's run. Lomachenko, no audio, just watching. And I was running, I'm breathing, I'm trying to shadow box people walking in. I'm so like, oh shit.
I'm one of these people that like, it's weird how visuals and music and all that like just makes you physically go harder. Because I
Yeah.
decided, especially the last 2 weeks, I was like, I'm gonna kill myself in training to get back in shape more and like give it more discipline. And it came because I saw when they were hyping up the Burns Khamzat fight. There was this video of like Gilbert Burns' circuit, like the insane like training circuit that he does, right? Like, I don't know if you've seen it. It went viral. And seeing that, I'm like, wow, what am I doing? So I tried to do some variation of course, not even close to that intensity, but I was like, I need to do a circuit every time I'm training now, and I did it, and it's like it makes you want to go hard. Like, let's see how far I can take it. But it's just from watching that video. Otherwise, I wouldn't even physically be capable of going that hard.
Yeah, no, like you need motivation, even if it's the weirdest thing. Like you
Yeah.
might watch something and makes you think about what would happen if you were in that position, or like if I was this, and it's just a G up. Like I was G'ing up so hard, and it's crazy. Hey, it's the best feeling though.
Yeah, exactly. Then Demo HD7. Have you not signed with any other big organization yet? Well, no.
No,
But so let me variation on that question. What would it take to get you back to considering signing with an organization?
well, at this point in my life, I wouldn't do anything but but I was really keen on bare knuckle.
Oh, hey, look,
Yeah.
we have really good connections there. So
Yeah.
we'll
I
put this
really,
clip out to
really
the right
wanted to
people.
fight. Yeah, I
Would
really
you
wanted
do
to give
one?
that a go. Would I do
Like,
one?
let's say they offer you like a
Mm.
decent contract, like for one fight. Now, what would you say?
Ooh, don't tell me like that. The thing is, my manager was like going to, do something in the works if I was ready. If I was like, yeah, you thinking about it? I just said, we spoke about it actually, and I said, oh, just give me some time, think about it if I really want to fight again. But like a year ago, I was considering it.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Hey, look,
a
I
year
might
ago.
put this clip out just to see what happens.
Right?
Yeah, maybe some of the because a
No,
lot of the fighters that follow us as well. Maybe someone will like be like, "I'll welcome her in," and then you have to.
I know, right? So
That's
far out. Like I don't
because
know, because I've always loved the raw stuff.
it's funny to go full circle because you just said like when you first entered that MMA gym and you thought MMA was this underground thing with bare knuckle and all that.
Yeah,
It would be funny if like, oh, that now it's finally here. Now it's finally regulated. Yeah,
that
now you can
sounds.
actually get that feeling. Oh,
Yeah.
sick.
You just
Well,
triggered something. I don't like it.
ah,
Oh
um,
shit.
okay. Well, I hope. Well, you know what? I'll take if you come and do it and get a win. I'm gonna take full credit for that.
Yeah, that's it.
Here we got one of your. I saw her on your stories as well. Diane Marie Skin, right? Underscore Skin. Who would you
Yeah.
say has been your rock support through your UFC journey and why?
I'd like to say a lot of things, but definitely family and my training partners, because at the end of the day, you're there with them, you're bleeding with them, sweating and all that. You're there, you're all going through emotions. Half of us are doing fight camp together, other half are just finished and have had losses or wins, and they're still there trying to help you.
Yeah.
They're doing everything. So there's so much emotion and connection with your training partners. It's almost like you share energy because like you're feeding off each other all the time, and we're all feeling different things at different times. We all have personal lives too, so they bring that into the gym too.
Hmm.
And then once the day is done, people cry, people get angry. You go home to your family, they see how you are after. They'll know if it's a good session or a bad session. They'll know with your reaction. And I think their patience with me, with my mood swings as well, and it was a lot because I was very moody when I used to train, especially in
And
camp.
and cutting weight. Like you're no sense of humor and just. I hear like how much it affects relationships between partners who don't fight. Like what if one of them doesn't fight, and they don't understand, which is always there's a lot of negatives with dating like fellow fighters, I guess, but the
Yeah,
positive, well, the negative of dating someone who doesn't fight was that they're
definitely.
like,
And they're like, oh,
is this the real person who underweight cutting conditions and training and
the
yeah, they
worst
don't
is
get it.
when they're like, oh, just you can have this. You train hard enough, like you'll be fine. Like let's say they offer you chocolate. I look at them and be like,
Hey,
no,
yeah.
because you won't. If I have that one piece, I'm gonna eat the block.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I can eat like a tank for my size. I can eat very well. I love
Oh
food.
really?
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah, I
god.
love food. I've already eaten, so like I broke my fast at like 5:40, right? I've already had 2 dinners and dessert before 9 o'clock.
That's the thing with Ramadan because I've had the breakfast like many times because you get invited
Yeah,
to your friends and everything, and like the amount of like how do you eat so goddamn much? Also rice and but I get it. Of course,
yeah.
if I've been fasting, I do the same.
Very
Two
done.
more. I fasted like actually I fasted like I never did the whole thing, but I fasted several days as a like a
Yeah,
solidarity thing as a kid and everything.
that's
But I don't
sweet.
know, I
That's
couldn't do
cute.
it. Like I did it those days, but I'm like if I had to do this a month, like it's tough, man. It's definitely
The
makes you
routine
really
becomes a routine.
really have to get into your mind. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
The Shoe Rush _ ask her about her sneaker collection. Who's the best sneaker supplier?
The Shoe Rush. These guys have sourced all my shoes that I want, sneakers, so my Nike Phantoms, any TNs, Asics. They are amazing. These guys have like come from a smallish company to really expanding in Sydney and Australia wide. So they're killing it. I just bought a pair of Asics, white and purple, light purple, and I've already got 3 more in order for other shoes. Like, I'm like, I want this shoe. No worries, they'll find it. They'll get it. They're the best.
Damn. So like the real limited edition stuff, like custom maybe. Do they customize as well, or?
No, they don't customize. No, but they can source mad shoes. Like I was actually saying to them today, because we chat or whatnot. I was like, my cupboard hates me. Like I've got so many shoes, and it's like, you just see mine. Showed me their wall. I was like, huh. Benefits of owning a shoe company. You guys do it well.
Yeah. You got a huge collection. You're a big sneaker person.
Yes, I love it.
Obradovic _ Milos 11. This kind of answers itself partly. Does she still wear glasses? And what is her prescription on them? What's the prescription?
So the ones I currently have are +4 and +4.5. So I went to a laser eye specialist because I want to get laser eye surgery because they're not strong enough and I'm annoyed. And they said that ideally my proper strength is +5 and +5.
Whoa, that's
So, yeah. You know how like these make my eyes look big? My eyes are small.
so but means you see
I can see
far. Yeah, so that's always been weird to me because my father has that actually. I have what do you call it, nearsighted or farsighted? I have the other one. Yeah,
Short-sighted.
Short-sighted then. So mine is 3, but then +5 is like almost blind like to me.
Yeah, well,
But it's not bad to me. Like I prefer to see far than the close, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like an eagle.
Yeah.
I feel like I can see very far. The lady said to me, because I saw the specialist, and then she was like amazed at how she's like, your focus from far away is amazing. And I was like, wow, really? She's like, yeah, honestly, you don't see any, like, rarely any people that have really good vision like that from far away. She's like, your eyes are so bad close, but so good far. She's like, I can't make the decision. You need to see the surgeon. I was like,
maybe
something's wrong with me.
that's not bad. It's not bad for driving.
Yeah, no, it's all right. But when I'm at dinners and things like that, I get so annoyed if I don't wear them, and I'm like, I can't see.
I can't see the plate, the menu, the people
I know,
around.
like, I look at my best friend. I'm like, order for me. You know what I like.
Yeah, good. That's the great thing of having a close friend that just knows you inside and out. Like,
yeah, I've got a good friend. Vix, she's the best. She knows exactly what I like. Go rely on her for anything.
yep. All right. Well, thank you. That was a great conversation. Thank you a lot for coming on. I'm glad you did, and glad you shared your insights. Hopefully, it can be helpful to some young fighters. And we'll see you in the bare knuckle ring very soon.
Oh, no, thank you so much. Appreciate the talk. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, but great night.
You too. Thank you. Good night.